And our next presentation is from Dr. Yuwan Malakar from CSIRO, Australia's National Science Agency. He's going to be giving a remote presentation because they have a travel restriction, but we're so pleased that he can join us.
I'm a research scientist at CSIRO. It's Australia's National Science Agency. And I'm also this year one of the Carbon to Sea Fellows, so pretty excited. So today I'll give you a quick snapshot of OAE in Australia, why it matters, where it fits in the net zero policy context, and what's next. And I will primarily focus on the CDR need, where OAE sits among novel CDR options, and the CSIRO's capability plus social acceptance angle. Let's move to the next slide. Okay, so how much CDR does Australia need to reach net zero? The projections from the Climate Change Authority indicate that Australia needs between approximately 133 and 200 megatons of carbon dioxide removal per year by 2050. Even under these scenarios, such as strong mitigation measures, widespread electrification, and declining gross emissions, residual emissions remain from hard-to-abate sectors. And as a result, CDR becomes a structural requirement rather than a temporary or optional measure. So this slide is a quick scan of the policy landscape shaping CDR in Australia. So achieving net zero emissions is a legislative requirement for Australia. The Climate Change Bill was introduced in 2022. And the introduction of novel CDR in Australian policy perhaps started or taken speed with these two reports by Climate Change Authority. It's a statutory body to advise the Australian government on climate change policy. Both reports identified the need for novel CDR to reach net zero emissions by 2050. And this is the net zero plan. And it's the umbrella strategy that includes net carbon removals as a key priority, especially for hard-to-abate residual emissions. And finally, CSIRO's Australian Novel CDR roadmap is the bridge from policy intent to delivery, and it maps CDR options, readiness, and what's needed to deploy CDR responsibly in Australia. It provides a framework, I would say coordinated framework, for assessing emerging carbon dioxide removal technologies in Australia. Moving on, so which novel CDR approaches have been considered in the roadmap? It includes direct air capture with storage, biological carbon removal and storage, ocean alkalinity enhancement, and enhanced rock weathering. I will be focusing on OAE in my today's talk. So each approach differs significantly in terms of maturity, cost, co-benefits, and regional suitability. Some are closer to commercial deployment, while others remain at pilot or research stage. So why OAE? Australia is a marine nation with one of the world's largest marine jurisdictions, making ocean-based climate solutions strategically significant for us. Australia has strong ocean science capability through CSIRO, including blue water research infrastructure, advanced modeling, and remote sensing expertise. And existing OAE field trials in Tasmania demonstrate that we have practical research experience in this space. And importantly, Australia's OAE research integrates social science alongside natural science to explore how can we do this more responsibly, and the deployment of OAE in Australia. So here's a quantitative snapshot of OAE's potential in Australia. Estimates, again, this is from the Australian Carbon Dioxide Removal Roadmap. The roadmap estimates that near-term realizable capacity may be around 7 megatons of carbon dioxide per year when co-located with existing infrastructure or water handling infrastructures, such as water treatment, desalination. But under high ambition scenarios, such as standalone facilities, the capacity could reach near 100 megatons per year, but the cost projections also vary widely, with co-located systems estimated to be significantly cheaper than standalone systems. In terms of our social science, social acceptance work, we are exploring what responsible OAE means to local communities, indigenous groups, industry, and regulators. We conducted our research in Tasmania. It's the island state of Australia. And there are two main takeaways that I'd like to emphasize here. One, we often think that local stakeholders care about local impacts, but our research found that they care about more than local impacts. They were asking questions about energy to power OAE. Where does that energy come from? How the durability of carbon dioxide storage can be verified. And most importantly, what is the overall goal of OAE in climate mitigation? Are there any other alternatives available? So second is often local stakeholders are seen as passive recipients of any developmental interventions. Again, our research showed that they can be active agents for OAE deployment. And, for instance, this one participant from the fishing industry said, we go out to the sea every day. We can collect data for OAE. Similarly, community-based organizations said, we can help communicate science and build partnerships at local level. So that's how we see that they can play active agents. Next steps for OAE. In the near term, the focus is on site identification, feasibility, building the technical evidence base, including MRV. And these are all. And over the medium term, the emphasis shifts to learning by doing, verifying cost, performance, and anchoring OAE in Australian facilities. And throughout this period, equal attention will be given to social acceptance, partnerships with First Nations, and positioning novel CDR as a strategic national priority. And this is my last slide. What's next for Australia? So our priorities include continued national coordination, stakeholder communication. International opportunities such as COP31 provide platforms for leadership and narrative shaping. Bilateral agreements with regional collaboration, including with Canada, can strengthen shared learning and alignment. For example, this agreement with Canada, the Australia-Canada Clean Energy Agreement that identifies CDR role in decarbonization. And building partnerships between science, industry, and policy is essential going forward. And recently, the Australian government has announced funding of AUD, Australian dollar 32.6 million for research and development of novel CDR, which demonstrates the positive intent and priorities. And finally, Australia needs to develop clear messaging that is based on national dialogue and social acceptance. So that's the end of my presentation. Here's the QR code if you are interested in, the Australian CDR roadmap. And yeah, thank you for giving this opportunity.